question. I was wondering if you were listening to Robert Mujica after the budget presentation last week, and he was asked whether he thought the high New York Times denomination income taxes were causing people to leave the state. And he said no, he didn't think that was the case, that it's mostly the salt changes. Just wondering what your reaction is to that.
Well, you know, if New York State taxes weren't so damn high, salt wouldn't have that impact that it's having.
Anything else? Any other reaction? As you know, Robert Mujica, I mean, obviously he's worked for different governors, but he's had different opinions.
He worked for the Senate Republican Conference. I have a lot of respect for Robert Mujica, and he does a good job. He did a great job for us, and I think he's probably doing a pretty good job now with New York State's budget. But you know, we hear it every day about the cost of taxes causing people to leave. We're seeing Wall Street firms relocating to West Palm Beach, Florida, to Nashville, Tennessee, to Texas. Those are the high wealth jobs that are leaving New York that are going to have a huge impact on our tax revenues that will take thousands and thousands of us regular New Yorkers to make up for the loss of just a few of those.
Tom, if I may,
yeah.
I'd like to just jump in. I'd ask, how many New Yorkers are captured under SALT? I don't think there's 300,000 New Yorkers that are affected by SALT. He says that the explanation for people leaving New York is SALT. I don't think 300,000 New Yorkers fall under SALT. You have to be super wealthy for SALT to kick in for you. I know it doesn't for my family, and I think I'm doing better than the average.
To go back to...
We're seeing an exodus of the New Yorkers from upstate New York. You know, they're not impacted by SALT, Senator Steck says.
Senator, you were talking about the shootings of the cops in New York City. There's been 5 since the beginning of the new year. But wondering, what is the state doing to prevent, like, why is the why are these killings happening? And what is the state doing to prevent that proactively? Governor Hochul, about an hour ago, was saying she signed ghost gun legislation. She has a task force that's meeting this week that was pre-planned. There's an Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which I don't think that's even been set up yet. But what is the state doing proactively to prevent these shootings and these continuing killings that are occurring?
Nothing. For the past 3 years, the majorities of this legislature and the governor have done nothing but lessen criminal penalties, eliminating cash bail, sending a message to criminals that you're going to get a slap on the wrist. You're going to get a ticket. You're not even going to spend the night in central booking. You're going to go right back to doing what you're doing. And now we have a DA in Manhattan who says he's not going to prosecute armed robberies. You're going to treat them as misdemeanors in most cases. That's sending a message to New Yorkers, particularly in New York City, and they're going to feel fear for their lives, fear for their safety in their everyday activities living in and about the boroughs of New York City.
So what should the governor and the Democratic-run legislature be doing to prevent holding criminals accountable?
Holding criminals accountable, repealing bail reform, getting stronger penalties for the illegal use of a firearm. You know, we're looking at the anti-gun violence stuff, and that's all well and good, but it's sniffing around the edges, and it's not, those resources aren't going to law enforcement by and large for these efforts. And what the effect of those is going to be, I think will be minimal and over a great long period of time. We need cops to know that we have their back, cops to know that they're respected, cops to know that the criminal that particularly commits a crime against a police officer is going to be treated severely. You know, D.A. Bragg in Manhattan with his policy reforms, he's not going to seek over a 20-year sentence. Well, he has his test case right now with police officer Jason Rivera. Gunning down and killing a police officer deserves the maximum that we can dole out in New York State of life without parole, not a 20-year sentence.
I'm curious about any reaction to the chair of the Independent Commission and the Democratic appointees releasing a statement today saying that their
I didn't hear it. Did you hear it? I didn't hear it. Good question. I have not seen that, so I don't have a comment for it. If somebody else wants to jump in, you're fine to do it. But
I'm sorry, if you are interested in or would support, I guess, altering the commission at all in the way that we not especially work together, I guess, are. And that's at least
which I'm not sure what she's talking about. I just got to say, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, and I only can catch a part with your mask of what you're actually talking about. That I don't know what you're talking about. So, I'd be happy to review that and provide a comments. Obviously, our leader is not here today, Rob Ort. So I'm not going to speak for our conference without at least him being here and us having conference on these issues and discussing them. But I frankly don't have any idea of what you're talking about.
You, Senator, and some of your colleagues here are among those Republicans targeted by Democrats. How worried are you about that the Democrats are going to gerrymander, and what are you going to do about it?
Well, time will tell. I think it's going to tell very quickly. It appears that the Independent Redistricting Commission is not coming out with another map. There's been no work to come up with a unified map for that. And I think it's going to go just the way that the majorities of the state legislature have wanted it to go from day one. Frankly, it's been doomed, particularly with the legislation that Governor Hochul just signed a couple weeks ago, giving full authority for the majorities to draw the lines. We'll see how they're drawn. Let's hope they're drawn reasonably and rationally. And our alternative is to go to court on issues of gerrymandering, if that's the case, after we see what those maps are. But we have no idea what the maps are right now.
Kind of a bit ironic for your conference, right? 10 years after you guys controlled redistricting in your chamber?
Well, we didn't. It was a bipartisan effort. The majority of the assembly was Democrat. We were Republican. We had a balance. Right now, that's what we tried to get with the Independent Redistricting Commission, an equal balance. I don't think you're ever going to take politics out of redistricting. It's how to make it bipartisan, how to make it balanced, how to make it not one-sided, and how to have it not be used to eviscerate the other side.
One more, guys.
Senator, on topic with your agenda here, two things. One, do you support the governor's $2 billion tax cut for the middle class? And second, in terms of the proposals you laid out today, where do you see out of the governor's budget cutting if you were going to use some of that surplus that's in there?
Well, I would say on the property tax cut, the $2.2 billion, yes, that's great news. I would rather not see it come rolled out in a gimmick, in a program, with a rebate. Let's use it for mandate relief, and the mandate relief we provide to local governments that is the property tax burden, require them to offset their property tax levies by the amounts that we take over at the state. We've been trying to do that for years on Medicaid, which is the primary cost driver for counties in particular. So I would rather see a reduction in property taxes and not another plan that gives some to some and not some to others, and a great expense to operate and manage that program at the same time.